Are my associates here, Hester?
They just arrived, Mr. Gray. They're in the back room.
Good.
They seem quite upset, Mr. Gray. Should I make some hot coffee?
That would be very kind of you. Thank you, Hester.
Well, at last. Would you mind telling us what sort of game you're playing?
Mr. Niven, I don't like your tone. Unfortunately, we experienced technical errors.
Technical errors? You swore no one would see us take that tiger.
Attention would be diverted, you said. Good Lord, when I palmed that tiger, I never had so much attention in my life.
I can only tell you something went wrong.
Something did indeed go wrong. I was seen lifting the object. I was chased by Lord knows how many people, tackled and hurled to the ground.
Believe me, the errors are being investigated, and I can assure you they won't happen again.
You realize, of course, they have retrieved the ivory tiger.
That's of no importance.
But you retained us to steal it.
Only as a test, Felix.
You keep saying this is a test. Leading to something bigger than an ivory tiger?
Much bigger.
When?
When I am absolutely certain that there will be no more errors. In short, when the entire operation is utterly foolproof.
I have a reputation to protect, Mr. Gray. I will take part in no operation which might see me in jail being interrogated like a common thief.
And I feel the same way.
I understand perfectly.
Just for my own information, who was that madman who chased me?
He chased me, too.
He was just a meddler, a well-meaning good Samaritan. I promise you he will not interfere with us again. If I may use stronger language, I hope you'll be reassured. We are working toward an extraordinary project. To call it the crime of the century is not an exaggeration. I give you my solemn word, we will accomplish it. And without interference. No one will ever interfere with my plan again.
There's room for two at this table.
What are you doing here, Scotty?
You know, that's what I like about you, Heather. You always make a guy feel welcome. To the answer to your question, I'm here on business.
Hospital business?
No. No, one of Durnley's men got injured and I have to take a deposition. But the porter isn't here yet. Is that all right? Is that a satisfactory explanation for you?
Oh, you don't have to explain yourself to me, Scotty.
But I want to, Heather, because it brings us closer together.
That's supposed to be funny?
No, not entirely. You know, you and I have a lot in common. You know that. Will you admit that?
Maybe once we had a lot in common, Scotty. But I've changed, which is more than you can say.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong. As a matter of fact, it's the second time I've been talking about this today.
How much I've changed?
How much I've changed. A long talk with Rose earlier, and I think I pretty well convinced her that I don't have, like, Laura hog-tied over at my hotel room or something like that.
I hear Luke is supposed to get a lead on Laura today.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hope he finds her.
Well, sure you do.
It's just, you don't believe me?
Well, you have to excuse me pointing this out, Scotty, but the general consensus around town is that the worse things are for Luke and Laura, the better you like it.
Well, that's only half right. You know, Heather, we really are two of a kind, you know? Now, I wouldn't mind seeing Luke just kind of fade into the sunset, but not Laura.
You know, you keep saying we're two of a kind, Scotty. For your information, we are not, and I'm tired of hearing it.
Oh, I see. So all of a sudden I'm talking to, like, the new Heather?
That's right.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, like the little tigress has changed her little spots?
I was never a tigress.
Well, you did a real good imitation of one, Heather.
What is this? Dissect Heather Hour? You know, I have better things to do than sit around...
Well, come on, sit down, Heather. Come on, sit down. I was just kidding around, that's all. Just kidding.
I don't think you ever kid, Scotty.
I don't think you do either. That's why we have so much in common.
Will you stop saying that? We don't have anything in common. I already have what I want. I have Joe, and I have a good job here at the hospital.
And you got a line on Cynthia Elliott?
She's just an old friend of mine.
Oh, sure. She's just an old friend that you just couldn't wait to see. I mean, you had to drive all the way up to Batavia right in the middle of a snowstorm.
Whatever Cynthia Elliott and I have to talk about is
really none of my business, right?
That's right.
Well, listen, Heather, don't underestimate me, because I'm going to find out what you're trying to pull here.
I'm not trying to pull anything.
Okay. Just don't get in an uproar around here, all right? Disturbing people. But, Heather?
What?
Heather, you know, we are a lot alike, whether you want to admit it or not, and you want me to prove it to you?
Prove it.
See, we think alike. And when we want something, we act alike.
I suppose that means you want something. I bet I know what it is.
Who it is?
Laura Spencer.
Okay, let's just say Laura. Just for, so we don't have to argue in here.
I don't see what good it's going to do you, Scotty. I mean, it's not going to be that easy. She is still married to Luke.
Well, I never intended to lose her to Luke, but there are still ways to get her back.
But she loves Luke.
Do you think that's going to stop me? Did that stop you, Heather?
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that I have, like, a long memory. You know, when you lost Jeff to Ann, what did you do? Never mind. I'll tell you what you did. You know what you did? You lied. You cheated. You set Ann up in a frame job that was beautiful. It was better than I ever could have done myself.
I really don't need to listen to this, Scotty.
Nevertheless, though, it is true. When you lost Jeff to Ann, you even wrote Ann's name in Diana Taylor's blood, just so you could get Ann out of the way.
That's in the past.
Well, we're all part of the past. We're all prisoners of the past, so just do me a favor, okay, Heather?
What?
Don't ever say that we aren't alike, because I know it, and you know it.
Lincoln's been a little bit held up. Get here as soon as you can.
Well, does it take that long to tell Laura's parents that we struck out again?
They've both got patience, so he's going to wait.
Well, my guess is that his chowder is cold by now, don't you think?
I just spoke to him, love. He's going to be a wee bit delayed.
All right, well, I'll get him a fresh bowl when he gets in.
Good, you'll appreciate that.
When you're on the phone, I was thinking
Well, that's a step in the right direction.
that the only way we're going to figure this out is if we go back over the whole morning and see if there's an obvious connection that we missed.
It was a reasonable enough plan.
Okay. The four of us arrive at the jewelry store. Luke and I go in the store. You wait out front.
Right, now. Then I went round the back and I placed Tiffany in the...
Tiffany, what about her?
I left her in the alley.
Tiffany, you still here?
Robert! Oh, Robert!
Look, I'm sorry, love. I forgot all about you.
What do you mean you forgot all about me?
Well, look, just what happened was we had to go to the clinic.
You went to the clinic?
Yeah, and then we went back to Kelly's.
You went to Kelly's?
Yeah,
What are you talking?
I was having lunch with Jackie, and then what happened
Wait,
was...
wait a minute. You were having lunch with Jackie while I was standing here freezing myself to death? I cannot believe this. What do you mean easy?
Let me explain.
Oh, let you explain. You told me not to move out of the stupid alley under no
It's all very easy to
And then you told me that I would be the very best kind of best thing right here, and I would be the best kind of turn about Jackie what's her face or Laura what's her face tonight, and then you and it's freezing.
Calm down.
Calm down. How can you expect me to come in? You went out there having lunch with Jackie?
I can explain.
Oh, you can explain it.
I
Yes.
feel really bad.
I'm
about
sure.
the whole thing, too.
Oh, you feel bad? You feel bad about
I got
it? You think you feel bad about it right now,
Uh,
sweetheart? You don't
yeah.
know what the word is, bag, because I can tell you you're going to remember every part I say.
Tiffany!
Oh, shut up, Robert.
You're going to like it here. Tiffany! With all due respect, Mr. Gray, I think Felix and I are entitled to more of an explanation than you seem willing to provide.
Mr. Niven, it was due to technical difficulties.
Difficulties of what nature?
The trouble was due to electrical failure.
Oh, then when you assured me that I would not be seen lifting the tiger, you planned to plunge the store into darkness, cut all the power.
It was not quite that simple.
And there's only one other possibility.
And what could that be?
At the exact moment we're to lift the tiger, you plan to run a brilliant laser beam through the store. A light of that intensity, that would be sufficient distraction. Am I correct?
An ingenious idea, Felix.
But not what you planned.
No, not what I planned.
Then what was the basic approach? I think if it's to be used again, we have a right to know what it is.
My basic approach, as you call it, will most certainly be used again. However, there's no reason for either of you to understand it because you will not be part of the procedure.
You mean our work is over?
As of now.
Then would you at least satisfy my curiosity? We took part in this trial run. What's it leading to?
The final moment of truth? Mr. Niven, I'm sorry. But surely you realize you're flying in the teeth of my basic philosophy.
In what way?
In an operation, I assign duties to a great many people. Each has a piece of the puzzle, one might say. But, and this is fundamental, I alone know how the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So what remains is for me to say thank you and goodbye.
This moment of truth.
Yes?
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Niven, but luck will have nothing to do with it. It will work because I say so.
You sound so sure.
Of my success, I'm completely sure. In due time, what I'm planning is the operation of the century. Gentlemen.
Do you mind if I join you, Scotty?
No, not if you don't.
Scotty, I just got to talk to you about what you are doing to your father.
What's that?
The way you are practicing law. I mean, with Durnley as a client, surely you know what that is doing to Lee.
I don't see why my practice should have anything to do with Lee. You know, I'm not going to be disbarred or anything like that because I'm working with George Durnley. Gail, believe it or not, I do have a certain amount of legal ethics.
But what I'm talking about goes a lot deeper than that.
You're just talking about my father, okay, what?
All right, damn it, I'm going to tell you, Scotty, even though you may think it's none of my business.
Okay, Gail, take a chance.
What I'm talking about is, well, maybe you'd understand if you had some children of your own.
Well, if Laura and I would have stayed married, we might have a kid or two.
I know. Let's not get off the track, okay?
Okay. So I don't have any kids.
No, you don't. So you can't possibly know what it's like for Lee now.
Know what?
Watching you all that time growing up, Scotty, and then just being so proud that day you entered law school and you were on cloud 9 the day you graduated. Do you know he still talks about it? To this day he talks about it. Those were probably the happiest 2 days of his life.
I think there's a third.
What's that?
That's the day that he married you.
It's a very nice thing to say, thank you.
I mean it, Gail. Listen, you and I, we've had a lot of differences here and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, I still think you're the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Then you know I don't want to see him happy.
He's not happy now?
No, he's not, Scotty. Lee's dream, well, it's always been his dream since you were a little kid, since you first started talking. He wanted you and him to be associates, to be Baldwin and Baldwin, attorneys at law, father and son.
I know that.
Can't you do anything about making that dream come true?
Boy, Gail, you sure know how to ask a question, don't you?
What's the answer?
Gail, listen, right now, I've got a lot of fences I've got to mend here in Port Charles, okay? And I just think that being in partnership with him right now, it's not the best idea for me to do it that.
But, Scotty, what would be better? Your father is one of the most respected attorneys in this town. And if you worked with him, you'd be respected, too.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It wouldn't be respect that I earned. It would just be his reputation rubbing off on me.
Well, you really amaze me.
Because we don't agree on anything?
No, because you really do want to do this thing on your own, don't you?
I have to.
You really do have some kind of integrity.
Maybe I do.
Your father thinks so. That's why he loves you so much.
You don't think so, though, do you?
I don't know. You're a pretty good con artist, you know.
A con artist?
Yes, you are. Right now, right there. You might just be saying all this because you know it's what I want to hear.
It's a possibility, Gail. You don't believe that, do you?
Want an honest answer?
Honesty is the best policy.
I don't know, Scotty. I don't know. I guess I just have to wait and see, huh? I'll get some more coffee.
The lights are on.
Yeah, I see. They must have repaired the main lines.
Was the equipment okay?
Well, I'm going to check it thoroughly, but yeah, I think it should be fine. I think the trouble was with the electrical capacity of the building and not my equipment, but I'm still going to test it again.
You're going to test it again in the loft? Oh, no, you've done that 100 times.
Laura, we still need to have another real test situation. And if I have to, I'm going to emphasize this with David. And we need just one more test before we attempt the final operation.
Great, which means more waiting and sitting, doesn't it?
Laura, look, I know that these have been very difficult times for you, and I am sorry.
Just...
Baby, look, please, don't stop. Look, if you can't talk to me about what's disturbing you, who can you talk to?
Oh, but Mel, you have so much to worry about.
Laura, don't you realize that you are the most important person in the world to me? And I think I know what's getting you so upset. You miss your sister, isn't it?
I feel like I've deceived her, Mel.
I know.
And it's not just that. She's here in Port Charles, and no telling what kind of trouble she's been to, and it's all my fault.
Listen, look. You don't know that Jackie is in trouble.
Oh, but she knows she's got to be worried. And she doesn't understand why I ran from her. And she doesn't know why I won't talk to her.
Laura, we just can't help that.
Oh, I wish she'd give up. I wish she would just give up and go back to New York.
Laura, look, that isn't likely to happen, isn't it? Now, from everything you've said, your sister isn't the kind of person that gives up that easily.
No, when Jackie puts her mind to it, she's not going to give up.
Yeah, apparently this Luke Spencer has the same kind of determination.
Well, then I wish they both would just forget.
Laura, now, come on. Now, that is not going to happen, and you know that.
Yeah, but you know what could happen just as well as I do.
What, baby?
He could do something to them both. That's what worries me, Mel. Nothing's going to stop him. He could have Jackie killed.
Feel any better, Tiffany?
Well, the coffee helps. Thank you, darling.
Well, one thing I have plenty of is hot coffee, so let me know if you need any more.
Thanks, Rose.
Tiffany, for what it's worth, I want to apologize. Everything happened so fast, I didn't even have a chance to think. And I'm very sorry.
Well, thank you. You actually sound like you mean that.
I do. I mean, after all, we're working together, same side. And I just want to say that I know you don't even know my sister, and you've really been knocking yourself out to help me find her. And I really do appreciate it.
Well, I do want to help.
You do your best, love.
Okay, so what do we do next?
Yeah, well, we were discussing that when I... forget that. Look, as soon as Luke gets back here, we're going to have to work out some other plan.
The problem is there's just so much we don't understand, starting with Mel and Laura.
Okay. Well, given that Laura's probably been told by someone to stay away from you, obviously Mel, right?
I don't understand that.
Right. Look, if it's not Mel, it's got to be someone else. Someone higher up is giving the orders.
But orders for what?
I haven't any idea at all.
Yeah, I drew a blank on that one myself.
Well, Robert and I were listing the names of everyone involved, starting with my sister Laura. Now there's this Mel guy.
Oh, yes, Stefani says he's a marvelous photographer.
Supposedly one of the best. That's what I don't understand. Why he would just pack everything up, close the studio, and come to Port Charles.
And why does your sister come with him?
Well, I think that's quite obvious, Robert. She loves him.
Then why hide it from me? I mean, I have no objections against Laura being in love, or even being with Mel, for that matter. As long as he's not trying to keep her away from me.
And let's not forget about the mysterious Mr. Gray.
Yeah, we told you that he tried to run Luke down.
I know, Don. You must have been scared half to death.
Oh, I can tell you it wasn't one of my best days. I couldn't believe how fast Luke moved. I mean, he was very lucky. He rolled away from that car just in time.
Okay, look, we're diversing here. Let's get back to the basics. What do we got? We've got Mel and your sister. We've got two guys at Bungle at heist for a tiger. And we've got this Gray character possibly driving a dark car now. Have I left anybody out?
Not so far.
All right. 5 people. 5 people. all add up to something. But what?
Well, I think you're right. At least we know that all 5 are connected in some way.
And I think you're right. But what are they after? What do they want? And the bottom line is, where the hell is all this going?
Tomorrow, Howard gets some shocking answers when he has a man-to-man talk with Chachi about his future on Happy Days. Then there's double the fun when Squiggy's long-lost father finds his way home on Laverne and Shirley. Wednesday, Daddy's a singer and the kids look after themselves until an accident changes their lives. Daddy, I'm their mama now. The next ABC after-school special.
Silent retreat.